Okay, so chapter 2. So today we are diving into the chapter 2 where we will explore some fundamental concepts that will help us to understand how markets function. So we will wrapping up the basic microeconomics concept. Okay, so let's start by discussing efficiency and market performance. In this chapter, we will be constructing two extreme cases. The one is perfectly competitive market. Another one is the monopoly. Okay, so but before we get into that, let's define what we mean by efficiency. Okay, what is efficiency? In economic terms, efficiency occurs when no relocations of available resources can make one economic agent better off without making another worse off. In order to visualize, let's consider the production's possibility curve, which is the PPC. So imagine a simple economics that produces only two goods, okay? Computers and wheat. The PPC shows all the possibility combinations of these two goods that can be produced using all available resources efficiently. Okay, let's draw that quickly. Drop. Here is the computer, and x-axis to be wheat. Okay, so on the axis, so we have the number of the wheat, and on the y-axis we have the number of the computers. Okay, so curve both outward here, showing the trade-off between two goods. So any point of this curve represent efficient productions. For example, some points on this curve, we can call it as, here is efficient production. Okay, so we are using all our resources in order to produce the combinations of a computer and wheat. Do you agree? So it means that that is the trade-off between computers and witness. In other words, it is the opportunity cost. So any point inside the curve represent inefficient productions, right? So we are not using all our resources, and any points outside this curve is currently unattainable with our given resources and technology. So these kinds of PPC help us to understand efficiency because it shows us that at any point on the curve, we cannot produce more of the one good without producing less of the others. So this leads directly to our definition of efficiency. So we cannot make someone better off without making someone else worse off. So understanding this concept of efficiency and the PPC will help us to, as we move forward, to analyze different market structure and their performance. Okay. Okay, so profit maximizations. So now we'll focus on the profit maximizations of the firms. So we will take the market demand curve as given here. The demand curve is typically represented by linear equations. P equal to A minus BQ. So where P is a price and Q is a quantity. Okay, so let's looking at the graph. So we will see downward slope demand curve. Right? So vertical axis represent the price per unit and horizontal axis represent the quantity. So point A in here on the vertical axis shows the maximum willingness to pay, right? While on the horizontal axis, A over B here represented quantity demanded when the price is 0. Okay, so it is important to understand the importance of the time in this analysis, particularly the distinctions between short-term and long-term scenario, as well as the concept of willingness to pay. Okay, so let's move on to perfect competitions. In a perfect competitions, in other words, perfectly competitive market, so both firms and consumers are price taker. It means that firms can sell as much as it wants at the prevailing market price. Okay. In other words, they have no market power. Then it means that they cannot up their given price, right? So interestingly, we do not need too many forms of perfect competitions to exist. So what crucial is that firms believe that their actions will not affect the market price. In this scenario, marginal revenue equals the price. Okay, so in the short, MR equal P. Okay, remember, for any firms to maximize profit, it must equate marginal revenue with the marginal cost. Okay. So in perfect competitions, this means that price equal to marginal cost. So in other words, it is we can call it as rational rule. Okay, in the microeconomics course, it means that the equilibrium, where the marginal cost equal to marginal benefits. So MR equal to MC equal to price in the perfectly competitive market. Okay. Okay, so now let's break down the first order condition for profit maximizations, which states that marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. Okay, so we will walk through this step by step, explaining each part. The first, we define profit. Okay, what is profit? Profit is equal to revenue minus cost. Here is revenue minus cost. Okay, so in mathematical notations, we write this as pi of the Q equal to R of the Q minus C of Q. Okay, here Q represents quantity, R represents revenue, and C represents cost. So both revenue and cost are function of a quantity, right? In order to find the maximum profit, we need to find the point where an increase in the quantity no longer increase in profits. So in calculus terms, this is where the derivative of the profit with respect to quantity equals to 0. Okay, it implies that here. So when we take this derivative, we get the derivative of the revenue minus and derivative of the cost, the both with respect to the quantity. So in simpler terms, we are looking at how revenue changes as we produce one more unit minus how cost changes as we produce one more unit. Okay, now the change in revenue as we produce one more unit is called marginal revenue. And the change in cost as we produce one more unit is called marginal cost. So in short, we just call MR, MC. Okay, so this makes the intuitive sense, right? If the revenue from the producing one more unit is greater than the cost of producing them unit, we should keep the producing. Okay, so if the cost is greater than the revenue, we should stop. Okay, the optimal point is where they are exactly equal, MR equal MC. Okay, now let's look at the illustrations of perfect competitions. We have two graphs here. The first one is the individual firms graphs. Another one is industry. Okay, so first look at the graph A, which is represent the individual firms. With the market price at the P star, the firms maximize its profit by setting the marginal revenue, which is in case they equal the market price, okay, equal to the marginal cost. This point. Okay, so this occurs at quantity small QC, which is the individual firm's quantity. Remember, in the perfect competitions, the firms is price taker. So its marginal revenue is always equal to market price. Okay, so let's shift our attention to graph B, which is right hand side. So which shows the entire industry. Okay, so we start with the market demand D1 and supply curve S1. So at this initial equilibrium, where the D1 is equal to S1, the market price would be P star, and total quantity produced in the market is BQ star. Next, let's consider what happens when the demand increases. Here, D2. So at first, now demand curve D1 shift to the 2, shift to the right. We assume that. Then this increase in demand creates a new equilibrium in the market. I will let the E slash. Okay, so how do firms respond to this change? With a higher market price, okay, so we realize that the market price, I let the P, higher market price. So existing firms can now maximize their profit by increasing their output. Okay, so on the graph A, we can see this as a movement along the marginal cost curve to quantity Q. Okay, like this. Small q1. So each firms in the market responds this way. Does it make sense? Okay, then as time goes by, right? In perpetually competing market, there are free entry and exit. Okay, so these situations of a higher price and increased production by existing firms will likely to lead to the excess profit in the short run. Okay, so this gap would be P1 minus AC. What is that? Profit margin. Do you understand? So if the profit margin is greater than 0, so many new firms would like to enter the market. Okay, so these kinds of excess profit act as the signal and an incentive for new firms to enter the market. So as new firms enter, the market supply curve will shift to the right. Here, I read the S2. Okay, so this process will continue until profit returns to normal level. Okay, so it means that your price goes down and we will return this point again, right, in the long run. So this sequence of events illustrate the dynamic nature of the perfect competitive market and how they adjust to the changes in the market conditions. Okay, so let's move on to next point. Let's discuss how we derive the short-run supply curve. It is the horizontal summation of individual firms' marginal cost curve. So suppose that we have the example here with 3 firms with a different marginal cost equations. Okay, so by summing them, so we get the aggregate supply curve for the industry. The right hand side is graphs. The graph shows how the individual firm supply curve combine to form the industry supply curve. Okay, here is another example with 80 identical firms. Each firm has the same marginal cost equation. Okay, so when we aggregate this, we get the industry supply curve, which marginal cost equal to Q over 20 plus 8. The graphs illustrate how the individual firm supply curve lead to the aggregate industry supply curve. So aggregate supply curve placed under each firm's graphs, right? So in the perfectly competitive market, The normal profit is the smallest amount of profit a business needs to keep the operating. So it happens when the total revenue exactly matches the total cost, so which include both obvious costs and hidden ones like opportunity cost. In other words, normal profit is the break-even point. Okay, break-even point. Okay, where the business isn't making any extra profit beyond covering all its expenses. So by graphically, profit capital market is P. P is given, and AC will meet the price curve, and marginal cost curve will go through the middle of AC. Okay, this point is break-even point. Okay, so if the business makes more than normal profit, for example, if the P goes up here, it means that we have the profit margin as much as P minus AC. This kind of a case, many firms would like to enter the market, right? So if the business makes more than normal profit, it earns extra, which can attract the new competitors to the market. So this increase supply and lower price until only normal profit is left. So on the other hand, if the business makes the less than normal profit, for example, P is below the market price, it loses the money in this case. So which can force some business to leave the market. So this reduces supply and raise the price until normal profit is reached again. Okay, that is the definition of a normal profit. So it is not the same as zero profit. So it implies that a firm is making a market returns on the asset employed in the business.